make sure to check out patreon.com/Clare Cooley, where you can get her SVGs and other art stuff. It's a great deal. You can join for free now. And she's a fantastic multimedia artist, author, and creativity coach. And that's a great way to connect with her and support her work. So we're going to have her come in pretty soon now. Are you ready? Are we ready for the main event? One moment, everybody. Okay, I'm ready whenever you are, Mom. I'll wait for the signal from her. Meanwhile, patreon.com/Clare Cooley. That's a great place to go to stay up to date. It's basically like signing up for her newsletter, which you can do for free and keep up with everything that's going on in her creative realm. You can also check her out on YouTube, The Creativity Show. One moment. Looks like we're ready to go. And it's live. There you go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Clare Cooley. This is The Creativity Show. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're both going to do something neither one of us has done before, which was draw a hare and a rabbit. So Bodhi and I are going to do that together. And I'm going to draw the rabbit that hides and the hare that runs to get away from danger is a, well, more masculine looking, kind of a tougher looking creature than a rabbit. So we decided I'd draw the rabbit and Bodhi draw the hare.
And why are we doing hares and rabbits?
Because we just discovered that on the first day of the month to say rabbit, rabbit is considered to be good luck. So yesterday was the first day of the month. So this is as close to the first day of the month for good luck for all of us. So,
and I'm just sharing the live stream on my profile. Thanks everyone who's watching. Let's have some fun.
All right. Well, we see we're also showing the 4 seasons, the test horizontal one and the 4 vertical ones in process. And a really fun part is coming next. Shall we show the live stream? I mean, the restream of them in process. It's just a minute. And really fun part of this process is coming next, which I love the detail as much as the washy backgrounds. So I'm going to get to put the evergreen and the flowers and the grasses and the maple leaves details in front of you next. But I'm sharing it in as it progresses so you can see art happening, layered, complicated art, as well as simple, quick art. And so this is the verticals are what this horizontal one you're looking at now came from the test of having all 4 seasons in one horizontal painting, winter on the left, spring, summer, autumn, winter blue, spring green, summer yellow, autumn red, and air for winter, water for spring, earth for summer, and fire for autumn. And this is all on the way to a performance piece called The Essence of Everything that will have the set, the 4 season kimonos, which have already been painted with my stencils, with different creatures representing each of the 4 seasons, winter cranes, spring fish, summer dragonflies, and deer for autumn. So the idea is to let nature and the seasons inspire a piece that connects visual art, spoken word, so there'll be prose poetry turned into audio art with musical elements, and then a choreographed dance. So it will be the set, the costumes, the soundtrack, and the choreography, all inspired by the Four Seasons. So I intend to do that by my birthday, October 9th, which happens to be John Lennon's birthday. He was also born in the year of the dragon, but 12 years earlier than me. And I'm a year of the dragon. I'm the water dragon year in Chinese mythology that I love because I drew dragons when I was young before I knew this. And of course, I love water. My mother said, "You never learned to swim, you just swam." And I'm not afraid of the water, and I love the water. And I also love that the water dragon is considered in Chinese philosophy of all the different types of dragon, and I think there's 6, at least 4, but we're supposed to be the leaders for the common good, which of course I aspire to. If I'm leading, I want it to be for good and for all of us. So
Speaking
there we
of
go.
water, would
Yes.
you like to show the watercolor painting organizer that you made?
Yes, let us show you this life hack that I am very, very delighted with. I call it Eat Art, Drink Beauty. And it is a pizza rack that Bodhi helped me make a stand for so that I could carry it with the 7 colors on the pizza racks on the 7 palette plates, and it has 100 brushes in the champagne flutes, and with some black elastic that we went back and forth to tie the flutes on so they can't fall and break, and to put in front of the plates so they can't slip off and they can easily come in and out. So here's a little video of how lovely simple that was to make a 12-inch by 12-inch surface that has 40 colors and 100 brushes on it. And the last shot is going to show it in the creativity cabinet there so that it stows away and easily it can set on top of one of my stools and be brought to anywhere I want to work. So I love easy, organize, so that I can spend my time going right to the inspiration instead of organizing my tools and materials every time. I like to keep them organized and then be able to take them out and use them easily. So now let's
We got
move
some
on.
comments on Facebook.
Sure.
Kaylin Lacuna said, "Beautiful work."
Thank you very, very much. Thanks for being here. And I love to connect with people this way. I call it virtual visits. We're walking lighter on the earth. We're connecting, and we're all connected anyway, but this reminds me and gives me hope that we can adjust to being kinder, more respectful to the planet and all the life forms and resources on it by driving and flying less and connecting in this more ecological way more economical and more efficient. So I love these virtual visits for this. And thank you to the Minnesota State Arts Board for the grant to do this series of live streams. I've done a lot and gotten, I'm so grateful to say, a number of grants to do them. And it forced me, which I like, to get in front of the camera, which is not easy. It's a little nerve-wracking, but I'm facing my dangerous doubt-filled mind and saying, hey, I get to get in front of the camera because, you know, we need each other to stay inspired and to stay hopeful and to share our good ideas. And the more we creatively collaborate, the more peace and harmony we can bring to the world. So I'm facing my doubts and fears to do it, and I hope it inspires you to do the same. Face
Great.
your
Julie
doubt.
Music said, great idea, and I'm off today so I can watch.
How wonderful, Julie, to know that you're there. Thank you, and I'm glad you're there. It feels great to have you with us. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who's there. And we love to get your comments, but we feel you anyhow. This is Bodhi's very first bird, and was his second. This is Sumi. His very first painting was this bamboo. His first bird was also Sumi ink and this was done with colored pencil. And here's on this same giclée fabric, my little bird, big flower, I call that. Little bird, big blossom is the name of that piece. And I love watercolor, Prismacolor pencil, acrylic paint. I give myself permission to combine them any way that helps me create the feeling I'm trying to create with the art, the inspiration that I get from my muse nature. So we're sharing Bodhi's first paintings, first drawing of a bird, to show how we can have fun from the very beginning of exploring a new art form. And we can enjoy the process of learning. We're not competing with anyone else. We're just stepping into creative flow, which medically documented increases our happiness. And I say this a lot because I think it's so important, and I do think art saved my life. Art and imagination and love, the inexhaustible resources, are what got me through all my tough stuff. And I had some really tough stuff. A judge said, how'd she turn out so nice, who was dating my girlfriend? Her story's like the women on death row, which is what got me to write my stories into my memoir, Incandescence, Rising Above Darkness, because it's not what we go through, it's how we get through it. And so, as I said, love and imagination. So stepping into creative reverie gave me a safe, serene place to relax and let go from the traumas and abuse and difficulties that, no fault of my own, happened in my life, and gave me a way to get the objectivity on it. Terribly bad things can happen to perfectly good people for no reason, and don't be ashamed of being a victim. If you are a victimizer, you should feel some shame and hopefully do what you can to make up for that, make amends. But victims should not feel ashamed for being victimized, but they often do. And that's part of why the world can stay broken in some ways. So I've decided to be honest about the things that happened to me, because only through honestly admitting what's wrong can we fix it. So I'm up for fixing the broken world where victims are ashamed of what happened to them. No, don't be ashamed. Turn it into your adversity into advantage by making it into art. So let's make some art.
Good idea.
So
right.
we're going to get a bunny, a rabbit, and a hare models. We asked the modeling agency to send us a hare for Bodhi and a rabbit for me. And we're going to work on them on this table right here so you can see us drawing them. Now, I've never drawn a rabbit before. As my first published work, The Book of Cranes, I did all 15 species of cranes. You come on around in here. And we're going to use if I had to pick one creative tool in life, it would be a pencil with an eraser. You can do so much with a pencil. It's amazing. So you're going to do the hare, and I'm going to do the bunny.
Rabbit.
The rabbit.
All right.
So what I suggest is how I do it, which is I draw the biggest shape first, which is kind of the whole thing, but the biggest shape would be the body of the rabbit or the hare. And then the next biggest shape would be the head, and then the ears, and then the legs would come off of it. So to have the correct feeling proportions, the biggest shape first. So for me, I'm gonna draw this way. Can the camera see both?
Yep.
And you want to leave space, whatever your material, whether you're working on paper, which we're doing right now, just to show something different than this giclée fabric we did these other pieces on. We're doing paper now. So I use the side of the pencil because it's soft and easy. And the head is kind of almost a sideways egg with a kind of the flat in the back. And the body is very round and fluffy. And then we have leggies. And the back leg is very strong on a bunny or a rabbit or a hare. And then there's the poofy little tail. And then there's the ears. And we get to, light pencil and change it any way we want until we get what we're going for. And then erase anything we want.
Big, fun ears, my favorite part.
There you
Who
go.
doesn't love the bunny ears?
Right.
I think it's interesting that bunnies are, the 6 foot tall bunny rabbit from Donnie Darko. I didn't even think of that till now. It's very spooky, Halloween-y. And so bunnies can have all sorts of connotations, which I think is interesting.
Well, anything and everything can have a dark and light side. And anything can turn into nightmare material or angelic.
Well, hares are very, they're like normal bunnies, except they're more wiry and they got longer limbs and they're really fast and formidable.
What we learned this morning, looking for models, was that rabbits hide from predators generally, and hares run. So I thought that was really interesting. And hares are generally bigger and more muscled, and and
And they're born ready to run.
yes,
That's part of why they're runners and why they can flee so well.
yes, and they're not born or stay vulnerable as long as rabbits do, uh, and so they can protect themselves from the predators much earlier than rabbits need the adult protection around them.
They're hiders.
So I relate to that. I've hidden from bad guys in my life, not always successfully. There were some I didn't know I needed to hide from until it was,
Too late.
yeah, that's what they say. But as long as we turn whatever happens to us into meaning, we need not have regrets even about the tough stuff. Okay. Now, for me, before I start putting in some formidable lines, I try to make sure I got the proportions goody good.
Yeah, mine's turned out a bit more fluffy on the fluffy side. He's looking a bit more.
Well, hey, you get to do it the way you want, and we all have our own way, and that's one of the things that's wonderful about imaginations and creativity is we're not trying to do it like anyone else. We're just being ourselves, and the more authentic we are about what inspires us, what makes us curious, what gives us peace or joy, the richer our creative expressions can be. So it is a good place to be ourselves and what no one else but us can give the world. And who doesn't want to be worthy, be themselves, be appreciated for who they are? We all want that. And so creative expression is a way that we can give what no one else can give the world. And it is a gift to the world because every different perspective helps us have a more comprehensive view of life.
Yeah.
And it is my opinion that this part of the reason, maybe people asked me to teach in my 20s and 9 people in one day. So I thought, well, they know something I don't, but I learned to be a teacher by teaching, and I learned about the subject of creativity and how to help people access and strengthen their connection to their imaginations and their confidence to express it creatively by doing it. And they say that the best way to learn is to teach because we have to break it down. In order to teach, we have to break it down for ourselves as well as the student or students. So I really jumped into that with being an artist in residence and teaching at a different school every week and 5 classes a day at elementary, junior high, high school, and then universities and mental hospitals and drug rehab. And we're all unique, but there are things we share. And that is, we all want to feel free, and our imagination is a freedom that we give ourselves. We can give ourselves. And wanting to fit in or be accepted is kind of antithetical to the freedom of imagination. We have to let that go in order to find our own authentic, unique expression. Now, this photograph of my rabbit doesn't have any feet for me to see. They're standing in the bushes. So
There's your fences.
there's a little bit of feetsies showing, but not enough. So I'm going to probably put some bushes,
Sure, cover up the pieces with bushies.
well, like the photograph, or find another picture later.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm going to look at my proportions and where it is my way to try to have as few lines as possible.
Yeah, it's not very big, but it helps.
To start before I start any of the shading, contouring.
Right. Well, you're drawing at the same time as me, so I'm just like making it up as I'm going along. But if you have any pointers, feel free to.
Well, I am very much supportive of do it the way that works for you. And as my mother, who was classically trained with a fine art degree, who never gave me technique, said, the rules don't matter for you. You just follow your own instincts and stop when it's done. And anyway, we all have our own instincts, and that's how we get to our unique, one of a kind, nobody but us expression in life is by being ourselves. So whatever works for you is what you should do. And when I say works for you, I heard a sad fact that a very small percentage of people that go and graduate from art school are doing their art 2 years later, and then even a smaller percentage 5 years later. Now, what's up with that? And I think sometimes the critical environment can really damage or even kill our spirit to create. And so that's it's a very our sensitivity, which is where creativity comes from, we need to protect. So don't share your work with people who are going to put it down. Share it with those few that are supportive of you learning and who appreciate your courage to do so. And you can get very critical feedback in a loving way, or people can be.
People are really trying to help you. They're going to tell you where you could improve, which means they're looking at the things you maybe didn't, do.
Well, look at you've got a very completely different way of doing it, which I think is wonderful. Let's give you the brush to get your, oh, it's out here. You can keep going. I'll get the brush for your. Oh, it's down below. Yeah. Yes.
And I'm putting your drawing where it's going to be easier for people to see.
Okay, so we can immediately see the different styles And I love yours. It's got a lot of feeling.
Thank you.
And
And yours is in your own style. You're very essence. You find the lines.
I try. My very first drawings were birds, and I assigned myself lines that looked like they could fly. And I got a bunch of bird books out of the library, and I did them in pen and ink, and I still have them. And then I did botanicals because I missed them my first winter here in Duluth. I missed the birds and the plants in the winter, so I filled myself up with them from books. And I drew these lines that looked like they could fly or looked like they grew. And then I still have those, and it turns out to be my nature as a distiller, my publisher friend calls me. I like to distill things down to their essence. So I'm putting in toes, I'm guessing. And of course it's pencil, which is easy to change if I get a picture and I feel like they're not quite right.
Yeah, well, I like the difference between the hare and the bunny. The hare feels more like this, well, they're both extremely agile looking, but the hare looks a bit more like a gazelle bunny. It's longer limbs, a bit more wiry, like I said, and it's a unique take on the bunnies that we have here. I call them bunnies because they're very cute and fluffy and they like to hide, and they are very fast, but they immediately run for cover. And hares, I'm sure, do the same thing. They find the tree line, but they're also, they can outrun predators in the open prairie where they kind of
are likely to be chased by
somebody
who wants to eat them.
Yeah.
They know they can outrun, and so they just hop into.
Because they're a little bit bigger in all respects, you can kind of see the shape of their body a bit more. They're a bit more angular.
Right.
Whereas bunny wabbits are just kind of fluff balls. And so I like that hares, they kind of look like they're a spring. They're ready to bound.
Bounders.
Yes, they're spring loaded, ready to rocket off if they have to.
Right.
Rustabelle rabbits.
There you go. So I don't, I prefer, having the subject inform me and then being inspired by it and interpreting it. But I'm having trouble with the feet because I don't have enough information from this photograph where the feet are hidden in the grass. So I'm going to leave them rather undefined.
They are kind of undefined, right? They're kind of just fluff. They're just sort of fluff balls.
All right.
For the most part.
And then I'm feeling pretty good about the rest having the right shapes and the proportions before I do any more with something. That's how I like to do it. Make sure that I'm feeling comfortable with the proportions and the shapes. And you can kind of see a muscle, bones through their fluffiness.
Yep.
So that's important. And there we go. I think that's about enough of the structure, the foundation. For that, I'm not happy with that. Needs to come more of a angle there. That's a little better.
Yep, I'm feeling some lines happening. A little bit of lining time for me.
Go for it. Okay.
Your drawing's not in the frame. There it is. That's in the frame.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to give it some shading. Shading can make things feel curving, three-dimensional instead of flat.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is there are some parts of the bunny which really don't have strong defined lines because it's all like furry.
Yes, but we have to
You get to interpret
accept
it.
that there are bones, muscles, ligaments, all that stuff underneath that fluffiness. And so sometimes we have to make sure that we give it three-dimensionality, if that's a word. I keep asking, is that a word? And you keep saying it is now. So I like that word that maybe I've made up. And
You are a word coiner.
well, I never,
Neologisms, that's the word for when somebody coins a new word.
all right. And so Bodhi is likely to know the word for what I likely make up a word for. And I didn't go to school, didn't really, I didn't watch movies, television, read books. I was always inspired by nature and always out in it whenever I could be. And that's what inspired me. And, I like people, but nature seemed to have it figured out, and people seemed to be, trying to control nature instead of live in harmony with it, which I thought was kind of confused. And turns out that is so true, because what's happening on the planet with the global warming and pollution and such, we really should strive to live in harmony with nature, not control it, and harmony with each other, not subjugate each other. Nobody owns the air, nobody owns the water, nobody owns really the land. We, you know,
Temporarily get to stay here.
we are guardians. And like we're guardians of this historic home. It was here before us and will be here after us, hopefully. And we get to take care of it while we're here. And that's the same with the earth. All right. Well, I'm not going to go too far with the feet till I get more information. So I'm just going to leave them as is. And I am going to put the eye in just so it has some life, even though I usually save that for the end, like dessert.
And there's got to be some good fun whiskers. Bunnies get their whiskies. There's got to be some nice, fluffy, sort of white underbelly. Just kind of gives them this pop. I'm going to try to get the white underbelly with the eraser. A little bit of
All righty. Well, let's see what we got.
yours is so cute.
Yours has a tremendous amount of feeling and personality, which I think is adorable. And so we did that in about a half an hour. So I like to show how quickly one of the many, you want to
So they can see it with the overhead. I'm going to
back this camera up and
Alrighty.
are they, is
now
it?
it's just this camera.
Oh, okay, they
You
already.
want to show the overhead? We can do that again.
Did you get a nice close-up of it?
Well, let's make it.
Full screen for a moment and then we'll talk about
There you go.
it. Okay. A hare and a rabbit. Bodie and Claire.
Yep.
Claire should have done the hair and Bodhi should have done the bunny. No. All right, let's put this camera on, and wanted to say something about, you know, I've loved being creative and it's nourished me throughout my life. And that's what I want to share with other people. And I do think, you know, every innovation, whether it's in agriculture or technology or home decor or outfits like this stencil that I did on this outfit or this jewelry I made, first is an idea, creative idea. So the more access we have to our imaginations and the more permission we give ourselves to express our creativity, the more we can heal ourselves, enhance our lives, and help others. So that's my mission with this creativity show. And I like to do these quick things, the quick painting, the quick drawing, because one of the things I've heard the most in my life, besides I wish I was more creative, and you're so creative, how'd you get to be so creative? And you do so many different creative things and you're so prolific and all that. So it's like, well, how did that happen? Well, I give myself permission, even during the times in my life where I was raising my sick, drug addict sisters, my older sisters, 2 sons from very young, and taking care of my sweet, sickly mother without help from others. So I had to support the 4 of us. So I literally had days where I had 5 minutes for my art. But what I learned in that period is if I did my art for 5 minutes, I was happy. Not always, nobody always is, but I could return to happiness regularly. If I didn't do my art even for 5 minutes a day, I became sad. And so I deserve to be happy because I wish happiness for everyone else. So I committed to never doing my best to never stop doing my art, even if I only had 5 minutes a day. And I did the math driving up to an exhibition I had in a gallery in Seattle, that if for 5 minutes a day I did my art, 5 years later, it would accumulate to enough time to have a major exhibition that I framed myself and designed and made the invitations for, everything it took to have a major exhibition 5 years later. Or I could be 5 years older wishing I had given 5 minutes a day to my art. So all the people that I've met in my life who say I don't have enough time, and I've met a lot of them, beautiful, creative, intelligent, deep, sensitive, sweet people who think that because they can't get deep into it, and it is better, enjoyable to get into our art and give ourselves the time to really immerse ourselves and step into creative flow. Sure, that's ideal, but life is not always ideal. So give yourself permission, whatever time you have, to, whether it's writing or painting or home decor or jewelry or outfits or hair or makeup or whatever, music, poetry, floral arrangements, cooking, whatever gives you joy to create. Give yourself permission to have some time regularly, as often as possible. When I fell in love with drawing, when a gorilla looked back at me, I drew with a pencil. I drew every day for 5 years. I was saying, if you're going to make this your life, you have to commit. So it's easy to fall in love with something, but it's a whole nother thing to commit. So I drew every day for 5 years, learning that no matter how much time I had or didn't have, I was cleaning houses at the time to pay my bills. I gave some time to my art, and that kept me going, kept me hopeful and happy. And I've done at least 30 different things in my life to pay the bills, but I do art for love. And that's, I deserve to do what I love and give what I love to the world, and so do you. So there you go.
Fantastic.
Anything else that you want to say before we sign off?
Julie Music said on Facebook, "That's how I feel about my crocheting."
Nice, beautiful. And that I'm so happy you shared that, because it doesn't matter whether it's what it is. If it gives us some joy, give yourself permission to do that and share your joy with the world. Thanks, Julie. Okay.
Great. And just everybody remember, check out the Creativity Show on YouTube. You can see all of the materials and tools that we used in the links in the description. And if you want to stay connected with Claire and what she's up to, check out her Patreon, patreon.com/Clare Cooley. That's a great way to support her work, and you can join that for free, and it's essentially a newsletter, and you'll keep up with all the cool stuff she's up to.
And the $5 a month members get all the, like the stencil designs. Right now there's 18 flowers, and next is coming some, maybe the whole 28 warblers and wildflowers, and then there'll be cranes, and then there'll be whatever's next and next and next coming out free for the $5 a month Patreon members. And you can also pick one of the 18 flowers and get it for what, $3 a piece?
Yep. And I'm showing the Patreon promo right now, which shows all the SVGs, or at least some of them. We've put a lot more on since then.
Yes, and also
you can use them for stencils, for drawing, for all sorts of stuff.
On walls, on clothes, on hats, on signs, on stationery, whatever you like. That's up to your creative decisions. So there you go. Thank you, Bodhi, for all your technical help and for doing your hair. I love your hair. He looks like he can run and fast. And mine looks like it's better if you hide.
It's very cute. And the eyes just make you crumble with cuteness. That's the point.
There you go. So, all right. And now the 4 seasons, I'm going to continue until it's these 4 season scrolls are done in front of you, so you can see more in-depth, more time invested into it, art coming to completion. So thanks for being here, and we'll be back Thursday at noon. So hope you enjoyed it, and hope you have some friends you can share it with, because we're just doing the word of mouth growing, which I'm very happy is happening. It gives me great joy and great faith in humanity that we really want to help each other. So thanks for being here, and meanwhile, stay creative.
All right.
Thanks, Cody.
Yep. Thank you. That